Hey, this is Tiger. Welcome to my stream. Well, back to SimRail for a change. AJ, good evening to you. Yeah, SimRail. You can see it built from 31st of January 2026. And AJ resubscribed, and she has been subscribed for 30 months. This is outstanding. This is obviously the best that you can get. Thank you so much, AJ, for the ongoing support for this stream and for this channel here. Yeah, first I have to apologize if I had to, if you tried to talk to me in the Train Sim World Ambassador streams on the Train Sim World channel yesterday. I did not manage to find the video because for some reason they did not play it on their live channel, and so I did not manage to find it until it was done. So sorry for not being there. I tried. CD radar, or should I say JD radar, because yeah, it should be the ČD163 because the numbering is not the Polish numbering. It is not the numbering that is from the manufacturer, but from the ČD163, the Czech train operating company. This is why it has this JD number. In the Polish alphabet, I think the C with a haczyk does not exist in that form, so for the Polish numbering, they had to get rid of the haczyk. Let's have a look at what we get in this 163 locomotive DLC. Let's drop into the train depot for that. It is numbered the 71E, if I'm not mistaken, because that is the number that Škoda, the manufacturer, uses for this locomotive. And you can see that we can get quite a bunch of different liveries for this charming locomotive. You can get a number 21-9, and some of them, or most of them, actually have names. This is Franek, then we have Beata, we have Agata, or Agata, I don't know how to pronounce it in Czech or Polish, Edita, Camila, Olivia. Those guys don't have a name, and yeah, the higher numbered locomotives appear to be unnamed. At least they don't have the name on top of them. And just to show off that there are actually quite a bunch of different DLCs, of different liveries in this DLC. Not only one locomotive. There's also a training module that we are going to look up because it allows us to do a cold start, and after that we will play a service with this locomotive. Spectre, hey, Tega, IJ, and JD Radar. Roscoe is also there. Good evening to you. Thank you for dropping a message on the chat, waving. It's not actually a tiger, right? It's more like a chipmunk, but nevertheless, thank you so much. And another thing that you might have noticed if you're not so super deep into SimRail, that we now have an editor. I have not really looked into it, but we can build scenarios with it, workshop and so on. What of that works, I don't know, but at least this thing is working now. Oh, wow, an editor, yes. Maybe we should make a stream at some point in time where we look into what the editor actually can do. Ace R2, maybe we are lucky and he will drop in later. Might be able to tell us more on that. So, single player is accessed by the train driver button. We have now 6 different routes. The tutorials are now in one route. Katowice-Warszawa is the original route here. That is a really long route if you want to drive it a couple of hours from Katowice über Zawiercie, and then Grodzisk Mazowiecki to Warszawa, and also combined so that it overlaps for quite some time, at least for the part between Katowice and Wasi, is this Katowice-Szczęciszów route, this quite a slowish route that is especially for freight trains. Inspector has missed your Great Western Express stream on Thursday, unfortunately. Yeah, and I missed you, Spectre, on it, but, well, it was a Thursday stream, so I had to accept it. And Roscoe says it reminds me that I need to update localization for SimRail for new loco. I think this should be done, should be feasible, right? So this is this, and this, if you look at the plan here, this is the... It's one of the great things about SimRail is that you really got a network where the trains can go this way and that way and crisscrossing, especially in this rectangle between Katowice, the KWK, in Swazic and Wasi and Olkusz, and then if you add the Kraków-Warszawa line that comes from down here, goes more or less here between Wolbrum and Tunnel, and then connects to the line that is going to Warszawa here. So you can see this is Wolbrum to Szczęciszów, Tunnel, Kozlów. This is a part of the Szczęciszów line, so that you have really multiple possibilities of routing the train in a different way, and it feels so much more than as a railway network as compared to lines that run from A to B. Katowice, Szczęciszów, the 80s, that is more or less, if you want to see it that way, this is a different map, because it is in a different era, so it does not interact with the others. And it is only Katowice to Szczęciszów, so more or less Katowice to Szczęciszów, this part, but in the 80s. And the latest route DLC that was released is here, the Łódź-Warszawa, Łódź, and connecting here to Grodzisk, Mazowiecki, and Warszawa at this point. So, by the way, if I'm butchering the Polish language and the names, I'm trying my best, but as you can see, I am not half as familiar with the Polish language and the pronunciation of Polish place names as I would like to be. Nevertheless, so this is what we have in the game now. I bought each and every DLC so far, and I will continue doing so, because it is a great game and it needs to be supported, even though most of the time that I'm spending playing railway simulations is obviously Transom World, but that does not mean that you can't find other products really appealing and great. So, tutorials. We have the tutorials in this testing facility at Migrut. And we need dispatcher streams too. Yeah, that is actually a thing that is or has been in my mind for long. Domino 1. But I actually don't know a lot about dispatching, so I really have to learn it before I can do a proper stream about it, I guess. Let's play the tutorial ČD163. Unfortunately, I cannot say that number in Czech or in Polish. This button actually here is also interesting. Load game. The thing is, there is a save game in alpha, beta, whatever. What a number, the 163. What would that be? 100 is typically 100 in Polish, right? If I'm not confusing things. 100, yeah. 163. 63. Well, the 100 I knew, actually. Thank you so much. The Czech number actually seems easier than the Polish number. I remember trying to say my Polish, my room number in Polish when I was in Poland and going to breakfast at the hotel. And they understood me, but they always had to smile when I tried to say that number. All right. Nice thing. Select mode. You can select whether you play the tutorial with a powered off train so that you have to start it from cold, or a running train. Obviously we want to cold start the locomotive so that we can see what is happening there. And then you can select whether you run a solo locomotive, so a light engine, or a locomotive with wagons, so an engine that is already coupled to a consist.
In front of you stands a locomotive from the 163 series, manufactured by the Czech company Škoda. Today, you will learn how to operate it at the Żyrardów experimental section. It's time to enter the cabin. Use the key.
Use the key. Well, I don't use the key. I enter by the door. I'm old-fashioned. At least I want to. Can I not? Ah. Here we go. Just have to get close enough.
Switch on the battery by the switch on the rear wall of the cabin.
Right. Before we do anything, let's enjoy this thing. Close the door. Beautiful moquette. And this is the table. A lot of switches and gauges and levers. This really looks like something where a James Bond villain could run a satellite or a nuclear reactor or something more out of the variety of a super weapon with. Those are probably fault indicators or something like this. CD Radio, you have to assist me later because I have a feeling that some of the captions are actually in Czech, some of them are in Polish, but 155 vibes coming up. Yeah, actually that is not so far away. So I think most of it is actually captioned in Polish, but then here, for example, Łódź-Widzew. I always thought that the Z and the D and the C with the haczyk is Czech and not Polish. Well, who am I to know? By the way, this is a Mirel indicator, right? Or the system that now is called Mirel in maybe a earlier version, the LVZC. And CD Reader says they are in Czech and in Polish. Oh, that is super helpful for everyone here. And ASRTU, hello, nice to see you in the chat. And Jesch, moin, Sakura. And so great to have you also on the chat, Akura. And CD Reader, the white border ones are Czech and only black are Polish. See? I can't understand it properly, but I can actually see that this is some of it is Polish and some of it is Czech. This actually makes sense. So the white border ones are Czech and the black ones are Polish. So what is that? Spichanik Gwowny in Polish is always like main, right? So this is probably the main reservoir here. That is still empty, and probably the other one is the brake pipe then. State of SimRail. Yeah, the state of SimRail. Look at it. And I am checking out what is the state of SimRail. Polinized It's a polynised ČD163. There's a total of 19, but only 11 are in the game. We have looked at it already, and we have seen that some of them have names and others have not. Before we do anything, let's look at the engine room, because it looks beautiful. Look at all those relays or switches. Probably here is also a diagram how to read and understand them. Pozor is, that's also check, right? Danger. You can always read that in the on the S cars, the SMGRRSS cars for the intermodal containers, and those are the transistors. Those are the transistors for the switching. There's also a cabinet with things. Here are some windows. There are more and more and more and more and more transistors. Here's some gauges. Don't know what they are supposed to say. And this is the hydraulic rack. And here you can see that a lot of the valves are apparently to be used at some time, but they are not even captioned yet. But they are all open. So typically with valves here, you would cut off the airflow to bogies. You can switch between G and P brakes and stuff like that. Thyristors, yeah, you're correct. It is spelled with an T-H-Y. Thyristors, not transistors. They are animated but don't do anything yet. The expert ČD163 is coming up at some point, probably. Yeah. True, thyristors, not transistors, thyristors. Or thyristors. What's the difference between a thyristor and a transistor? In the early days, the little that I know about electrical engineering is that thyristor is Spanish, yes. Okay. The difference, at least in the early days, in my limited knowledge of electrical engineering, is that transistors typically
Switch on the battery by the switch on the rear wall of the cabin.
Need a constant supply of current or at least voltage to switch, whereas thyristors, once they got a current, they stay in the switch position, even if the control current is off. But lecture me on this. Got more confused with GTO's gate turn on and turn off thyristors and IGBT insulated gate bipolar transistors. Maybe we should have someone from an electrical engineering university to tell us what actually the difference is. Well, a battery, on the other hand, we know this is the switch where we can turn on a battery. At the moment, we still don't have any supply. We don't have a panto up. We need to create, and we know that from the other locomotives, some sort of starting pressure in our pneumatic system to get the pantographs up and to close the current so that we can draw our electric energy from the overhead catenary. In the book, we had this button that we had to hold down with our thumb after we turned on the battery, and we had a small compressor running then to create just enough pressurized air to get the panto up. And the similar procedure or something closely related
There are
will
two
happen
pneumatic
here.
valves placed in the cabin for supplying the air to the pantographs. The valves need to be opened. Open the valve of front pantograph.
Yes, and more recent is power MOSFETs. MOSFETs is typically something that is more related or more common in microelectronics, like with power electronics, picking up stuff like this. Wow, we could add this to the list if we get someone from an electrical engineering department to lecture us. Something that is on this locomotive that we haven't seen anywhere else is that in the cab actually we have some part of a pneumatic
Open the valve
valve.
of back pantograph. Activate the cabin.
And so we have to open the valve for the pantographs so that they can actually be addressed. Now, activating the cabin was a thing that we always needed to do. Sometimes on more modern locomotives, this is done with just, inserting the reverser. Here we have
Set the drive
a
mode
key
switch to train
dedicated.
mode, which will activate the CA and SHP devices.
The drive mode switch, and careful, there are two drive mode switches. This is one drive mode switch, and then over there is a driving mode switch, not to be confused. This we later need if we use the cruise control mode. And this one here more or less switches between we are actually driving from this locomotive or it is just a multiple
Acknowledge
unit
vigilance
locomotive
system.
working. This is the button for the
Set the pantograph disconnectors to the
SHP
P-plus position.
and the
Acknowledge vigilance
CA.
system. Set the pantograph disconnectors to the P-plus position.
The P plus position. And Roscat, so thyristor, it's like you play with switches on off super fast instead for resistor load. All right. And Ace RTO says, I think MOSFETs are used in the newest London Underground tube stock. And Ace RTO passive driven switch here just disables PL safety systems. All right. What it is used for if you have like two locomotives in multiple units, then the second one would have the passive driven mode so that the safety systems do not go off on that locomotive, right? So now we need to ground our pantographs, as it seems, for safety reasons, and we are grounding both.
The air pressure in the pantograph tank is too low for them to rise. Start the pantograph compressor by setting the compressor switch to the PK position.
So P and Z is front and rear pantograph, and we want to ground both. And now we need this, what we did on the book with our thumb, and on the German crocodile with the auxiliary compressor, we use the small
Wait for the pantograph reservoir
compressor
to fill up.
to fill the pantograph reservoir so that we can get it up. And grounding this connector that does the opposite. Well, maybe it connects the grounding and we ground it as long as the
Switch on
locomotive is
115
dead.
V central power supply.
Okay, now we have enough air in our smallish pantograph reservoir. And now we can actually switch from battery power to the power
The
supply.
vehicle's electrical safety devices are active to protect it from damage. Press key to crouch down in order to reset the security system.
Okay, now we actually switch to the power that we can later get from the overhead catenary, and the safety systems are off at the moment, protected.
Reset the safety devices with the button.
With the button. This is the button. Unlock protections, in case you were wondering where this button is. This button.
Unlike Polish vehicles, the 163 series locomotive requires the circuit breaker to be closed without voltage. The vehicle's high voltage circuit is closed by raising the pantographs. Enable the circuit breaker.
So that is something weird. At least if you come from the traditional locomotives that we drove so far. Typical procedure is get the pantos up, after that turn on the main circuit breaker or close the main circuit breaker. Here it is the other way around.
Set the desired configuration of pantographs with the switch on the control panel.
You might have noticed that this indicator here, HV, turned around, and it's the same diagram type indicator that we also seen on the German crocodile. If it is vertical, it is on. If it is horizontal, then it is off. So this raises the question, what is actually off here? And I think this is the train heating, right? At least this here says train heating, and whatever this might be, the word ogrzewani pociągu. Pociągu is genitive of the train, yeah? Of the train, so probably the train heating. Yeah, off is train heating line. I just think Škoda engineers were drunk while designing this loco, says ASRT. Well, it is actually nice how much different things you can do on this locomotive before it actually starts. Now, we still don't
It's
have
time to enter
pantos
the
up.
cabin. Use the key.
Yeah, I am in the cabin. That is a bit weird that as soon as you use the external cameras, the game thinks you are outside
Set
of your
the desired
locomotive.
configuration of pantographs with the switch on the control panel.
This one, Z and P in both. And I
Wait for the
think
voltage to appear. Wait for charging
back
current
one.
to stabilize.
Okay, we got the voltage, 3.5,
Switch on the compressor in automatic mode.
and here is the charging voltage. And now switch on the proper compressor, this one, to
Wait for the main tank to fill.
automatic. So this is the main compressor, this is the small compressor. That creates the air for lifting the pantographs. Now that we got the pantographs up, now that we have charging current from the overhead catenary, we can use the big compressor. And now we are inflating our main reservoir, we can see it here. With the red hand. The other one is probably the brake pipe. We'll get back to this then later. Also an interesting device here.
Switch on the compressor in automatic mode.
And now it is talking about the other compressor.
Wait for the main tank to fill.
Now both compressors are filling the main tank. You can see that a maximum speed of this locomotive is 120. This is why this circle here is blacked or redded out. You can press the arrow keys next to the matrix display. Is that so? Oh yeah, that's true. Datu Draha. Interesting. Lost. That is speed.
Engage auxiliary brake, pulling its handle towards you. Release handbrake using a handle on left-hand side of the cabin.
And Yeri, Captain Yeri, I have yet to look into this loco. Yes, do this. It is interesting. I still have to drive it in a proper scenario. I've just started looking into it today. Release the handbrake. Now that we have enough new pressurized air, we can use our loco brake to hold the loco in brake and now in place, and now it is
Enable
safe
radio and set desired channel.
to release the handbrake. So the brake cylinders, the gauge for the brake cylinders is probably the red hand on the...
Engage auxiliary brake, pulling its handle towards you.
No.
Enable radio and set desired channel.
Well, we have to look at this later. Radio is a bit more complicated than the radios on the other trains that we had.
Change the radio channel. Enter the channel changing mode by button with arrow.
To change the radio channel, you have to do 3 clicks. You have to click the arrow.
Select the channel number.
channel number. It is 9 at the moment, even though we have to switch to 1 after the next signal.
Confirm the channel change.
Here it says on the R9, and then we have to
Use the call button on your radio telephone
the
to
star.
confirm the readiness to the train dispatcher.
SU1 and SU3 are A and C.
Test track unit from track 1 ready for testing.
Understood. LD the exit.
CCD radar, the ABC is returning here. That we also have seen on the Bundesbahn locomotives in the German, the Austrian
Move
ones.
reverser into forward position. Set the lighting for train operation using the switches.
And DRA is odometer and REL DRA is the trip distance. Alright. Let's disable the little 2 tons brake force handbrake. Alright, it is disabled. And what did it say? We have to set the lighting before we can actually start. We got a signal already. A 40 now. 40 and go. No,
Set
white.
the lighting for train operation using the switches.
And here is the one.
Move reverser into forward
top.
position.
This is the
Hold the
reverser.
support brake lever in the release position.
The guy who did the voice acting had to laugh at this point for whatever reason.
Set the Dervers valve in driving or simulation position.
A simulation because we have to fill it first.
Move the brake lever to the drive position.
And then drive
move
position.
the control lever forward to apply power and start moving. You must wait for the drive brake shaft to engage and apply at least 5% traction force.
Okay, it always takes a bit. So make sure that you don't overshoot. In this loco it is very easy to overload the brake pipe. We will have an eye on that. We are already a bit overloaded, but we need to do our Angleichen. And now, after passing this sign, we have to switch radio channel.
Acknowledge vigilance system. Change the radio channel. Select the channel number. Confirm the channel change.
Otherwise, you will get a lot of points distracted or subtracted for driving without radio, not for driving with the wrong radio, but without the radio. Been there. We are rolling. Yes. And we are rolling out here, and soon enough we will be able to accelerate beyond the 40. Nails Atio, some people I've heard had brake issues because they may or may not have had their brake pipe at 7 bars. And this sound here is not a safety system going crazy, but it is
Acknowledge vigilance system.
the thyristors.
It's time to enter the cabin. Use the key.
It's a very quiet one, yeah. So I guess this can really drive you nuts. Especially this sound. I always think I did something
Acknowledge
wrong.
vigilance system.
Flashing. Green announcing limit to 100 actually. And there is a limit to 70 later. But not so far ahead. Like 1 kilometer. We're just coasting.
It's time to enter the cabin. Use the key.
Now it's time to have a look from the outside.
Move the brake lever to the drive position. Push train brake handle forward to decrease braking force. Set the Dervers valve in driving or assimilation position. Set the Dervers valve in driving or assimilation position.
No. Line speed is dropping to 70 here. And we got a yellow signal. So we have to slow down. And I also have the ED brake, yeah. This one here. When we're using the automatic mode, it is using the electrodynamic brake on its own, so it is not coupled with the air brake. As we know that from German locomotives, it is just another brake in existence next to our pneumatic drain brake. Directly to resistor bank and no feedback in this ASRTO. There's also no blending.
Move
From
the
what
brake
I've
lever to
seen.
the drive position.
You're funny, we have to stop at the signal here. Or it has blending. Well, then I just have not seen it yet. Oops. Yeah, it's really easy to overload it.
Set the Dervers valve in driving or assimilation position.
Now we got
Set the Dervers valve in driving or assimilation position. Move the brake lever to the drive position. Push the throttle forward to accelerate.
again 40 and stop. See there, you can see the point move to opposite direction. That is good.
Move and hold the control lever backwards to switch off the drive.
Exactly, and a reduced braking distance. There was this double white arrow.
Move the brake lever to the brake position.
Yeah. Now I want to roll up to the signal. The reduced braking distance will make sense because we only have the platform between us and the next signal that we can already see.
Set the Dervers valve in driving or assimilation position.
The new
It's
grass
time to enter
actually.
the cabin. Use the key.
I have not really paid attention, but this is normally a good sign.
Set the Dervers valve in driving or assimilation position.
Dervers valve.
Set the Dervers valve in driving or assimilation position. Push the throttle forward to accelerate.
The automatic thing uses 30% to start the train and then 58 to get it on speed. Now we're getting into the opposite direction track.
Acknowledge vigilance system.
That means we have
Set the
to.
lighting for train operation using the switches.
That means we have to switch our left light to red. Before it was full green, now it's brown for autumn and winter. Summer, spring grass is green and also has flowers. Alright. Maybe we will see this later when we drive a proper service. We have a sea with a hot chick there as well. Where? Many beeps and boops in this loco, yeah. In the beginning I was always confused that I did something wrong and the loco is warning me that it is about to explode soonish.
Acknowledge vigilance system.
Yeah, I am so used to this sounds as CD radar. And the fold board, yeah, we actually had a look at the fold board, but we don't know whether it is working or not. So this is a lot for the expert mode. The chit on the light switch. Oh, I will
Stop.
look.
Switch to automatic driving mode, and then report in on the radio. Move the brake lever to the brake position.
Was it too short? Ha! I'm pumping in the wrong direction here. What's the lever in the driving position? Ah, they want me to switch to automatic. And this is the other thing. What we did so far with those controls was manual.
Use the call button on your radio telephone to confirm the readiness to the train dispatcher.
To go.
Test track, unit from track 2, ready for second lap.
Understood. I will several to the right away.
Okay, now we're getting a signal. Hopefully.
The cruise control speed is set using the keypad on the right-hand side of the drive control. Set the cruise control speed. Now you can start the drive with cruise control. Set the driving mode switch to the S position to start the locomotive.
Now this is just like... Gotta hold it until you are at 3 kilometers per hour. And then you can... It flips back into drive on its own, but 3 kilometers was not enough as it seems. We could go 130 according to the signal. Above 3 henceforth, alright. Yes, I set the electrodynamic brake on the keys where they are at Trains in World, obviously.
Set the lighting for train operation using the switches.
Now we need... Yeah, here's the chit in the caption. Let's see if we overshoot,
Acknowledge
because
vigilance system.
at the moment it is super fast at 100%. Now it is dropping. Oh. Stout. It says drive, but the letter is J.
Acknowledge vigilance system.
So let's see if we can slow down to 70 with the speed control.
Set the driving mode switch to the V position to switch off the drive. Set the driving mode switch to the V position to switch off the drive.
Okay. It brakes on its own with the electrodynamic brake, using it, maxing it out. Also, you can set the power limit of the cruise control relative power switch next to ARR control mode switch. Ah, perfect. This is what I was looking for. And this is the relative
Acknowledge
power.
vigilance system.
So you have to reduce that a bit if you have a very light train and increase it a bit if you are actually happy with it. And then approaching the signal. Let's see if we can stop with. With the automatic thingy. Ah, and by pushing and pulling the power handle by one step, I can also adjust it. That makes sense that I don't have to punch in the numbers like a dispatcher. It's very like on the Baureihe 112 where it has only brake. Yeah, definitely an interesting loco so far. And it probably gets even more interesting if the engine room is animated and all that stuff. And the fault indicators start flashing.
Move the brake lever to the brake position.
Oh, it brakes. Reliably.
Set the driving mode switch to the V position to switch off the drive. Move the brake lever to the brake position.
But I want to brake with cruise control 0. Let's see if that works. You can press the move left key and X crouch key to see the pedestal. Aha. But the old thing, you cannot stop the train
Set the Dervers valve in driving or simulation position.
completely with the old-fashioned electrodynamic brake.
Set the Dervers valve in driving or simulation position.
Modern
Set the driving mode switch to
ones
the S
can.
position to start the locomotive.
Yeah, you need to be at about 30% power and then
Acknowledge vigilance system. Set the
leave
driving
it
mode
on its
switch
own.
to the V position to switch off the drive. Move the brake lever to the brake position.
just for the info, P is Parko Vani for parking brake. The V is V. I don't know how to say that for coasting. VB. J for Gista. And S for Sulas.
Set the driver's valve in driving
Wybieg.
or simulation position.
Wybieg. Alright. Set the driver's valve to driving. We are
Set
supposed
the
to
driver's
drive on.
valve in driving or simulation position. Move the brake lever to the drive position. Set the driving mode switch to the S position to start the locomotive.
Ah, we should have a speed set. And it will actually drive us. Probably.
Acknowledge vigilance system.
Ace RTO says.
Set the lighting for driving the train on the left track using the switches. Set the red lights.
Czerwony. If I enter the engine room, a relay will trip to protect you from the HV, and what it does, it opens main circuit breaker, lowers pantos and such. I see. The high voltage, yeah. I got it. We went 13 kilometers. Coasting. We're doing the PZB braking curve after passing yellow distance signal. We're slowing down to 80. And we're slowing down to 60. Until we hit the 500 Hertz. We will try the parking brake when we stand. Now let's say we got the 500 Hertz. We're slowing down to 40 in our release speed of 40 until we can slow this train with the air
Move
brakes.
the brake lever to the brake position. That's the end of the tutorial. Use Zoo on the radio to end the ride.
So I punched in the parking brake. Before I press Zoo, let's see if I enter the engine room. We tripped it. And see, the radar says HV can not only mean high voltage, but also Lavni Vipinach, or will be the main switch. And now the fault board is illuminated. That is true. We can see this one here illuminated. The 150 volts. That is the ground relay, probably. And how do we get it working again so that I can press my SU? This one is already disconnected. Can I just simply close the main switch again? And raise the pantographs? Probably not, huh? At any rate, I'm hearing something. We got the main circuit breaker closed again. And use the radio. That's it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Can you zoom in the main switch, please? I will zoom in it next time. So that was the tutorial. A lot to learn in the tutorial, actually. A lot to do. You learn about the two different ways to operate this machine. The thing is with the grounding disconnectors, when I started it from cold, I had to put it from 0 to both P and Z. And now I had to put it back to 0 for it to work. But no, the axle counter. This train is 0/6 meters long. Well, let's drive something out of the Warszawa Wschodnia DLC. And the interesting fact, and ISRTO said this in one of the other streams a couple of nights ago, is that the ČD163 can more or less used on almost every scenario, along with apparently all the other locomotives. If you have rolling stock, all selectable in game, and the ČD163 is actually mentioned here. So what can we do? We can at least start a scenario. They are all quite longish. We can do the train spotter, that is short. Do this intercity one. It has a lot of stops. It does not have a lot of stops. Let's do that one. Maybe... No, that is 2 hours. That is even longer than the other one. Łódź nur nach Skierniewice. The other way around. You can drive regional service in Pendolino, yeah. And the other way around if you have some time. Wrocław, so that is typically out of the DLC, probably, where you see those dotted lines. I think we will just use that one. That goes from Łódź-Widzew to Warszawa Wschodnia, and the train actually started in Wrocław and is going on to Białystok out of the match. You can drive Puszcza, Marianska, Łódź, Dąbrowa. But that is cargo. I might want to have a stop. Let's do that one. We probably won't be able to do it completely. Because we have already spent 1 hour in the tutorial. So we just started. Yeah, you're right. The ČD163 is mainly a cargo train, but I want to get into stopping this locomotive a bit. Here you can see all the liveries lined up. Franek and Beata, Agatha, Olivia, Edita, and what was the name of all the others? Choose your train, the rolling stock for which the scenario was designed, and the hollow star other recommended alternatives. And if there is no star, it is not recommended. Other options may differ from reality or could cause problems with heavier loads. So, what we wanted to use is the 163. Maybe it can cause problems. What do we want? Summer, autumn, winter, spring? Let's take autumn. And let's pick sunny, foggy, rainy, thunderstormy. Force a change in the start time. Things you can do nowadays. That's great. I don't know what the scenario is designed for. Let's pick a time where we can actually see something.
Welcome to the intercity Łódź-Widzew Warszawa Wschodnia scenario. Today you will undertake a driver change on a train from Wrocław to Białystok. Wait for the train to enter the platform and then report to the dispatcher that the train is ready for departure.
The twins. So, now we have to wait for the train. Good old Łódź-Widzew. Which switches for 120? It says CD radar and... As it happens, I have no idea what he's talking about. So, always good to get a warning. No idea what it means. Śmiercia is something like death. No? The sign says don't touch the overhead line equipment. The last word is śmiercia. Śmiercią. It is compulsory. Yeah, we have that as well. And as always, I said it wrong. Trakcyjna means traction or something. Ah, there's the train. I can stop now. I already stopped. So I figure the train is already set up. So...
Train 6128 to Łódź-Widzew, dispatcher, over.
Łódź-Widzew dispatcher receiving you, train 6128, over.
Driver change is complete and train is ready for the departure, over.
Understood, train is ready for departure. Please await the signal.
Train 6128 awaiting signal, thank you, out.
Out. I should turn the train heating on. Good, did it. Why is my signal, by the way? Of those many. We have a signal now. It looks like it, but I'm not entirely sure. My doors are closed, I hope. Let's see what we're driving manual. Let's do it automatically. Let's start with 40 and let's see if we can forward. Can actually just take over. Didn't want to. Because we have a heavy intercity train on us. I need to be a bit more. What is now? I should have waited longer. This was my signal, what I saw. This is just the repeater. And it is still red. No, that was not good. We should have waited until 10:26. No, I don't reverse. The UI was telling you to wait for 2 minutes through. And Akura says, do they speak English in real life too, or is it just for the game? Would love to have it in native language. In the beginning of the game it actually was in native language. It was a lot of Polish that was in the game. I don't know if you can switch it back. So let's see how that works here. Yeah, either everything to Polish. So we can go 60 on the signal and then go. By touching the files, yeah, I guess we don't want to do that. Switching to 7, it says maybe we were already on 7. Well, this sound is really head-breaking. We have to blow the horn to get us some relief. So we have to stop. At Łódź-Widzew, and we did not pick up the passengers, as it seems, in Łódź-Widzew. So I don't actually know where we have to stop. The white button, that one here is the Roadrunner, but for that we have to... Oh, the axle counter is already set. That is nice. And it also is connected with the cruise control. That's interesting. Looks a bit like a station that we're coming up to. No, we don't have to stop there. Now I'm back in my script. That is also good. Yes, ATCS level 2 does not apply to us. Okay. Galkovic is the next thing where we just pass there. In Koluszki we stop, as it seems. A bit, yes. The paper timetable. Koluszki, here we stop. PH means we stop. Then we stop in Skierniewice. Skierniewice. In Zachodnia, in Centralna. And then we arrive in Zachodnia. We have Edita. The blue Edita. There's a station coming on. The level crossing is secured. So we are probably a bit behind time because we are limited to 120. They are the two dispatchable stations with the highest difficulty. Koluszki and Skierniewice. Well, this Schnarre is really headache inducing. Was that signal for me after all? No. It belonged to the track next to us. Ours is green. Do I like the shaking? Yeah, I like the shaking. And I'm timetable to 140. Is a big. So 6 kilometers to Koluszki. Supposed to be there at 10:39. Probably won't make it in time. Even though we try to run away fast from Łódź. The guy's waving his lamp. Speed limit to 100 is coming up. And I missed my warning signal. Oh, by the way, I could have turned on my markers. Then people would know what we're playing here. Oh, a dragon. I think the dragon is my favorite locomotive. Together with the big in this game. As Matt said many times, coasting is a method used to effectively maintain speed, reduce motor stress, and maintenance requirements. And right he is. And headrest, CD radar, yes, that was the main reason. As single thing, I don't need to honk for it. And I like it that the cruise control does the slowdown on its own. Switch to radio channel 2.
Train 6128 to Koluszki. Radio test after changing to channel 2.
Yes, I like it that I have to do the radio check.
6128 receiving you loud and clear. Over.
Understood. Thank you, Koluszki. Train 6128 out.
Alright. And as Arthur said, if you want to mute the sound, you can disconnect the M1 in exchange for 50% of power. Okay. 100 and stop. The stop we should take seriously. So did I open my doors, or is that done for me? Probably it needs to be done for me because I cannot open the doors from here anyway. It's quite a long time that we're standing about here. Let's check out the cameras. Mr. Rolex FR, hi! Very nice to see you. And the guard opens the door, says ASR to you. And Mr. Rolex, are you only a DTG ambassador on Train Sim World? Yes, I am only a DTG ambassador on Train Sim World. I am not a SimRail ambassador. So today I'm actually acting even more on my own accord. Not that I'm not acting on my own accord when I'm acting as a DTG ambassador. And I am not well, technically I am a DTG ambassador, but I am not really doing Train Simulator Classic. I've come to the franchise too late to be really into Train Simulator Classic. So, signal switched, 100 and stop, but our stopping time has not elapsed yet. The cab fan is animated.
6128 departure.
And let's find out where we can turn it on, but now we have to departure. We can start with 100, and let's start with 100. Alright, he got us on the way. And Mr. Rolex says the CD162 and 63 and better on Train Simulator and freeware. Oh, I did not know that. If I remember correctly, say S8, the switch to enable the fan is located in the second man's area. Probably it is. LVZ is the SimRail system, right? So we're not stopping before we get to Skierniewice. Bioxide 37 LVZZ are disconnected on SimRail. You can't drive with, yeah, I gather, because they don't have it. And it's not the SimRail. Okay. But isn't it the same family of frame protection system that later ended up in the SimRail interpretation? Well, we have to investigate this properly. This display thingy here with the yellow, red, green, yellow rim and the blue, that reminds me very much of a SimRail display. SimRail is another system upgrade of old LVZZ, yeah. That's what I meant, probably. This is why I got it in my brain for both. Now I can go back to 120. So, like in Doozy and PZB, I guess this is RTO. Probably. We will look into it, and 3D Radar says nowadays there are no 163s in passenger service under Jesgidrati. Most of the converted locomotives already have ETCS and LSO6. It's first time to drive the CD163. Yes. I literally started firing up SimRail again this afternoon. So it's the first time that I have the 163 up and running. And the route as well, yeah, the Łódź-Warszawa DLC is also a first. On Train Sim Classic you can drive with ČD163 or DR230, BR180 with PCB 90. Piloted in PZ80 and LVZZ system also. So 15,000 volts for Germany and 3,000 volts for Czech country. That sounds definitely interesting. The PZ80 version is only for a very limited part in Train Sim World. You can only find it, well, as a caption on the 143s and ČD163 in development. I see. Well, there is still a lot to be ported. Into Train Sim World. Ace RTO isn't a ČD163, ČD163 with a multi-system. Yeah, I think that's what I read. That the 363 is the multi-system version of the 163. Czech route arrival for Train Sim World. Yes, we are also hyped about the Czech route arrival for Train Sim World. Limit to 50 is not for us, it's only for the diverging track, if I saw that correctly. And we are not diverging ever. And now we are prone to lose time because 150, 160 and our poor little loco can only go 120. And the track is not smooth here. No Mirel or LS90 there either. Yeah, that is the sad thing. This is just like the horn that reminds you to press the CFA key, right? But it is not a safety system. It's the traction. The thyristors in the traction. And the suspension, yeah, it's probably the suspension update for... Oh, did I run a neutral section? Or am I? Here's a neutral section and now I can go again. So I can actually turn on and off the driving with the cruise control by kicking the driver handle. So Spectre asks, how do Czech drivers cope with the constant traction humming? Well, they have more modern locomotives now, but I don't know how they did that at the time. Did I change the cruise speed to 100 and then up again? Well, gotta get used to it more than. Ah, you're right. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. Then I would coast it like this. Coasting reduces the stress on your ears and brain. The occupational safety guys are not amused, I guess. I am afraid, yeah. Bioxide says, I like drive with this song. And same if you like drive with the CHS-78, CHS-4 in Ukraine and Russia, same builder of trains, Škoda. Well, I guess if you get used to it, I guess what in former times steam engine drivers had to get used to with their ears. Well, at any rate, I'm happy that they added this locomotive to the game. I'm also happy that they're adding more tracks and routes to the game. I think the prices that they charge are very reasonable for what you get. I love that most of the routes are actually interconnected. It is a great idea that you can change the locomotives and trains between the single player scenarios. It is great that there is an editor now. It is still great that you can dispatch. So in my opinion, this game is doing really great. And the only thing that you can say against this game more or less is I'm not interested in the Polish routes. But then you can't be helped. Two little ETCS locos, yes. We only have two ETCS locos. Deet. Okay. Coast a bit. It's also a nice thing that if you get a new loco that more or less you can take it for granted that you get a real big bunch of different liveries for those locos, not just one or two. And if you have a working ETCS, now we're getting into a neutral section. Good thing that we're coasting anyway. If you have the ETCS working, then it is quite easy to add more ETCS locomotives. I like how they always drive with their arms folded. Yeah, the IC Mickiewicz, probably. Oh, we're actually on time again. How did we manage that? Remember, in the beginning we did not really have AI trains in the single player missions. Okay, now I'm not getting any points more for honking on the single boards. I always thought on the single board I don't need to honk, but on single boards before I got the points for it. So we don't stop at Skierniewice PZS, but we are stopping at Skierniewice station. That I remember that from the first SimRail videos, and you ask where the trains were. Yes, correct. Now that you mention it, I remember it as well. Yeah. And the console release would be a thing for SimRail, right? Inspector says he likes busy routes. Ah, the coasting is so relaxing. So, single board, no points. Alright, then I don't honk on the single boards anymore. Let's see if I get docked. No. But it's really a nice track for coasting here. Wrong button. Neutral section again. So now I guess we need some more power. So this humming is acceptable, this is not a problem, but this other, this higher humming, that is really... That one that we heard for a short while. I'll be back, says ASR to you. How's the drive going? Well, I like it. It is really a relaxing drive as long as you can coast. No, we were actually almost coasting all the time, so my ears are not bleeding yet. But it's going to be back soon, I'm afraid. I could disconnect the traction motor 1 if you want. Well, this stream at any rate I will go through with it. Maybe they are doing this to encourage their drivers to eco-drive a lot and coast as much as they can. And CD Radar says the funny thing that drivers do for train spotters is they flash the headlights from left to right. They are in a position where only one bulb can be on at a time. Alright. So we are getting actually close to our next stop. So no reason not to coast actually. Passing the PZS, and after that it is at least in the timetable. Not long until we have to stop. Okay, it's at least 2.2 kilometers, so we don't need to brake immediately. Oh, well, there was a limit to 100. But I managed to get below it without getting docked. Repeater, and here we are 100 and stop, so we do the 100 and stop. Skierniewice. Does anyone know why poles use incandescent lights instead of LEDs? I know a lot, but that I don't know. I don't even know whether it is true. So, can I not stop yet? Can I not stop yet? Probably at the 200-meter sign. No, they don't let us stop here. Now I can stop. Thank you so much. I stopped at the station. So I don't need to answer
6128 departure.
to this departure, do I? We're starting at green with 100 limit. And let's do this. the brakes are not completely released. I will see a big amount of tracks now, he says. Well, I guess I will go up until Grodzisk, Mazowiecki. Because that is... In dispatching, this is pretty interesting. 2 screens, 4 directions. Well, you mentioned this, and it must be really challenging. Oh, that was actually a neutral section. Was a bit late for that, but at least I showed my goodwill, and now we are approaching a 70 restriction. Can you do it? Not quite. But good enough for not getting docked for it. So, and soon we will be out of it again. Was only a temporary one. And choop, we go. We can have a bit more power. Yes, and Ace says so. Temporary speed restriction of 70 approaching because the track is not properly smooth. I always like it if you have trains on the bridges or running underneath. Łódź-Widzew, Mazowiecki. Actually, this really annoying sound is almost like a indicator that tells you that it might be a good idea to switch to coasting. So many branch lines and lines crossing, nice. Yeah, that is really great. That is really great. Yeah, I felt the loco rocking a little bit at this point. Hey, Sartiu. So it makes sense. As long as we're actually accelerating, the sound is not so bad. A symphony for the ears. CD Radar says he would rather listen to this for a few hours than the crazy whistling of the black tracks in Train Sim World. Oh well, the black tracks in Train Sim World is well, admittedly one of the oldest and crudest locomotives that there are. Beep boop, what a symphony, yes. Well, this one sound I will just call the coasting indicator from now on. And now it's literally straight track until Warszawa Wschodnia, which is 45 kilometers. What does the timetable say? Grodzisk, Mazowiecki will be 16 minutes. Yeah, which is a lot for not having any turns. And see, the radar says it's been there on the platform. 45 kilometers could be a trains in world route, and we are already 2 hours in this video. Yes. I'm driving through a checkpoint, Lloyd. And what was that Acura with the class 377? It just rushed through the chat window. I did not get it completely. And a car, according to ASRTU's PKP website, this run is 130 kilometers long. Oh, alright. Yeah, the thing is when I saw there is a DLC Łódź-Warszawa, and I thought, is that really long enough for being a standalone DLC? Well, it is actually really long. Inspector ASRTU, nice, that is really immersive. Ah, the AWS Bing. On the 377. Boop. It's the electric bell on the 377. Well, I find this Acura an extremely soothing sound. And wait till you do a Warszawa Wschodnia Katowice run. Yeah. No, it's Wschodnia without Z, right? I hope the devs get the transition to consoles right, Spectre, but I trust they do. The set I invented, yes. And see, it's so long, it depends on the speed. If you're going 120, it's long, but if you're flying 200 here, it would be almost twice as fast. That is true. Very true. Yeah, who can write Polish names? The coasting indicator went on again, so we coast. So actually this sound only kicks in if you're almost at speed. And I don't know what the train is doing then. Żyrardów is the next one. Unfortunately, the coasting doesn't work that well here, because we're always losing speed. When Łódź 2 drops later this month, you will be able to do Warszawa Wschodnia, Łódź-Widzew, Ţ, which is 208 kilometers. And this is the frequency of those thyristors, right? But here, this sound, some humming is not a problem at all. And then all of a sudden, it comes this. Sound like a buzz saw. Oh, we're getting a flashing green. Is it the end of the automatic block? Yes. The Viskalchnik 18 or whatever was the name. They even give us an indication to stop now. And this with a shortened braking distance. Maybe I should apply the brakes a bit harder here. But that was a funny sequence, wasn't it? It was a flashing green. On the last automatic signal. That was a correct sequence.
6128 departure.
If you say so, CD Radar, I trust you. How you can tell if flashing green means red in 2 or the next 100? It's easy, you can't. Well, that sorts it out. It can actually announce everything, right? neutral section when starting at the platform is always a bit annoying, but we have to live with it. Thing is, we did not get any limit on the home signal for this station at all. Well, if you get a flashing green on the last automatic signal, always prepare for the worst. Alright, we got a drive-through at Grodzisk Mazowiecki. And this is where I want to end this stream then, because then we did the part that we don't know yet from the old DLCs. And see the radar, I'm a little annoyed that the voltage indicator jumps to voltage when the pantograph is switched to raise and not when it touches the wire. Ah! Nathatio, if I get flashing green, I'll first do route knowledge and then do take a guess. No issue. Alright. Well, I think this is in general not the worst thing. Only resort to guessing if you don't know. Passing sound. It bugs you because if it is flashing green and you don't know, you are gonna do max 160, so slowing to 100 is not that hard. And at Grodzisk I will run through the special 130 switches. But overall it's an absolutely great locomotive, yeah. I give you that, and I love the cruise control on this loco. If you compare that to the clumsy cruise control on many other trains and locomotives, I already love the cruise control on the Elf trains, the Pisa trains, Pisa Elf. And this one is also outstanding. The Roadrunner, yeah, I actually did not use the Roadrunner one. Counting down the axles that we put in here. Here it is already prefabricated and it's off. And the cruise control, as ASRTU said, I have not tried it out yet, is also connected with the Roadrunner so that it actually does not increase the speed unless the Roadrunner has run off. Meep meep. But it doesn't do meep meep. It's actually a silent Roadrunner, isn't it? It's not really axles, it's weird to check regulations, say one axle is 6 meters. I see. So we are 34 times 6 meters long, does that make sense? 180, 204. And 201 it says. Yeah, makes sense. So you have to divide the length that is given here. Another flashing green. On the Vizcashnik 18 last automatic signal. Alright, this is for the 130 switch. But yeah, I can see the 13 underneath looming ahead. So with enough route knowledge, we would have known that this is a reduction to 130. That does not really hit us too hard since we are limited to 120 anyway. And this signal told us to go ahead. And those were the famous 130 switches at Grodzisk, Mazowiecki, and now there is a neutral section coming in. Well, and Grodzisk and what is coming now, we already know from, well, the core game if you want. Pruszków, Józefinów, and then we are already at Warszawa Wschodnia. This is the area where you always used to get a lot of ETCS, Valise read errors and stuff. And as RTU says, I find it cool that some reduced braking distance sections also apply the speed reduction. So in Dąbrowa Górnicza, for example, if you have a red signal after the platforms going north, it gives you a 40 kilometers. That is definitely a good thing. And some German routes in Trains in World could actually take this medicine to slow down trains before they get into a KS2 with reduced braking distance. Warszawa Wschodnia, which means Warsaw, Italy, not related to Italy, it's just that Wschodnia, which is the name of the neighborhood it is based in, also means Italy. Well, but I don't think that we will do the trip to Warszawa Wschodnia in this stream here. It is actually quite a lot of time until we get to Warszawa Wschodnia, Centralna. And since we are already 2 hours and 10 in the stream, on the other hand, 30 minutes, not very long. Actually, it sounded so long on the description. Well then, you can really use this annoying sound as a coasting indicator. Every time you hear it, you know that you're almost at top speed. Well then, let's see. If I fall asleep, you have to wake me up. Do I like the no turns area? Well, I definitely don't mind it. And Sifa is there for you. The Chuvak activni. The Chuvak will wake me up. I can enable the fan, he says. Neutral section. I still have not found where the fan gets enabled here. I only can enable the LV set. Or I could switch to manual driving. Well, that's true. On the other hand, the switching between drive and coast is already quite enough to keep me awake. You can search for the button if you don't mind. Well, I will search for the button when we are at the stop, I think. It is behind the chair at the wall. Here we are. That was close. I am too far away from the driver's seat to sit down. Left and forward. Ah, that also works. Yeah, true. Then you don't have to stumble around in your cab. It is moving. It looks like one of those old plastic toys that we used to have as a kid. Red Leader, nice to see you on the chat. We're actually doing great now that I found out that we can evade the most annoying sounds of this locomotive by just having it coast. And Artio says this loco doesn't have a stove or a fridge from what I've seen. It seems so, yeah. And CD Radio, you can now read the beautiful Czech Polish descriptions. Also, that is true. But actually the textures could be a bit better, or is it a setting that I have that the textures are not so pristine? It seems that I have not the full resolution for the textures. Let's see if the game still works after that, or if it crashes now. I don't recommend full resolution. Maybe you should have told me earlier, because now the game seems to have frozen. It won't crash. Do you think it will come back? And really this is, by the way, guys, there is a festival of rail mastery in the game for a few days, just in case I didn't know. Oh, no, I didn't know that. It takes a little bit to load. Okay, and let's see how long this will take to load. So that we can at least see. So there's the thing that you can actually set textures in the train to full resolutions and the textures outside to half. Ah, actually it works. Ah, look at that. How beautiful the descriptions are. Let's just play it for the sake of the argument and let's see what happens with full resolutions. VRAM usage is probably about to be 100%. I could try and check. Let me see. Let me see if I can check this. Yes. The dedicated GPU memory is at almost 100%. Shared GPU memory, not. There is still some room. Dedicated GPU is 14.6 out of 16 gigs. Let's see if it works. But let's not forget to switch it back to half resolution. Oh. Yeah, you can see the nice suspension. Zachodnia we are stopping, right? That's the next stop. Until then we are just driving and driving and driving. But I wonder that we are not so super late, right? Will we have stayed so long at the stops? How is it possible that we are not really late? Or did the timetable somehow scale down to our top speed? Oh, I thought there was a dead section coming up, but it was probably for the junction. Speed limit coming up, so we can coast. So we're driving then through Warszawa Wschodnia. To stop at Zachodnia. We can just keep the coasting. The Pershing. It's the CD radar. Hundred and go, says the signal. And 4 kilometers before we get to Warszawa Wschodnia. Zachodnia. The story behind the Pershing, is it a nickname for the loco that we just encountered? Again a flashing green, switch to radio channel 2. Unless we haven't been on radio channel 2. We have been on radio channel 2 already. This time it is not the last one in the automatic block, but a full-blown distance signal. Ah, the Pershing is the nickname for the 163. Coast. We coast. And slow. Yours. It's nice to see you. Hey, Mr. Tiger, it's good to see you. I hope you're well. Good to see you. I hope you are well as well, even though we are playing SimRail today. And not Train Sim World. .40 and stop. Complete a journey from Łódź to Warszawa. I got an achievement. And yours says that is interesting. I've never seen SimRail before. Well, if you have any chance of playing it, because you're playing on the PC or not on the console, I would recommend grab it as soon as it is up for sale again, because it is a really great game for every train enthusiast. It's a nice game, says Red Leader, and you see, it wasn't in vain to come all the way here. That is true. So the FPS is actually getting a bit slow, probably because we increased the textures. And here I can stop very early at the platform. 50 seconds. So, guys, I will set the textures back to half resolution. I hope the other way around will work easier and faster than setting it to full resolution. So unless you want to read all the captions on your instruments, half resolution might actually be the better choice. And return to the game. Nice thing is that the guard is taking care of the doors and everything, and I just have to wait. And City Radar says, and also when Hank goes to disconnect the locomotive from the car, the train's heating must be turned off, and the driver must give Hank the ignition key to make sure it's turned off. Oh, that is cool. But we don't have to disconnect in this service because we are going on to be able to Białystok, right?
6128 departure.
All right, you got it. No Hank in the game, sadly, says City Radar. Oh, we are 5 points late. "40 and go," says the signal. And this annoying sound is back again. I can't coast at the moment. Well, I can't. So, we're stopping at Centralna. Okay, then let's go into the tunnel. Let's dip into the tunnel and stop at Centralna. Oh no, it froze. But it did not crash. So now we can go a bit faster. Yeah, 60 announced on the signal. Wyskaznik 18. And soon enough we will be down to the 60. Also for the line speed limit. And stop. That gets me every time, to be honest, because I see the 60 line speed announced. I see the flashing yellow and then I think, yeah, good, that's 60. But actually, the signal gives us a 40 here when entering Centralna. It's a trap, yeah. It is. And some old Tatra trams also have this very similar thyristor sound, this CD radar. That is no consolation, I'm sorry. So how far do I have to go here? I can stop. Oh, I have to stay 2 minutes here at Centralna. Because we are actually back on time. Can't believe it. This must scale somehow. Okay, if you use the key to get off the train automatically, you end up next to the tracks. So what does this thing say here? Oh, it's actually a different date. It's October 24 here. We ran 127 kilometers in this mission already. We max 120. Is that our average speed? 40? No, 40 is what our cruise control is set to, right? That is the brake pipe pressure at the moment. And why is there Richlos speed again? Red Leader says, I did not know about this, but I did not know, as Arthur told me.
6128 departure.
You got it. I'm out of this station. So now apparently we can go by the signal. And start with the 60. And then the 80. Try the Roadrunner here. Here must be the 80 soonish. Here you can see the 80. Let's try. Roadrunner. 80. Roadrunner is on. Roadrunner is off and it flips to 80. Isn't that a beauty? The wonders of Czech engineering. Instrument lights, I did not check that. And CD radar says you can check if the numbers are correct on the outside of the loco. Like we should be. yeah. Now we can coast because we're approaching the 60. Numbers 163, 049, and we are on Edita. And with what do we want to... Here's the instrument lights. And now we don't need it anymore, do we? Good old PLOTL, whatever this means. I wondered what setting should I take. PLO does not have to do anything with the PLO, right? And stop. Same thing with the 60 here. Good thing I realized it in time. And now let's coast into place. Ah, Plené is full and Lumene for reduced. I thought it is captioned Svetle for bright, and what was the other thing? Also something with T for dark. Like with the colors. That's what I learned at some point in Czech. Tmavé, yes, exactly. Thank you. I can stop. That is nice. So I think this is the end of our service here. After all, we made it on the stream 2 hours 40 in the stream according to my OBS. Yeah, and it says we're done. What did we do wrong? What did we do wrong? A lot of honking. Obviously we departed first early and then late. The honking is always a thing when streaming. You pass too many of those warning signs. Lots of things we did wrong, yeah, but this is something that we have to live with, that we are departing behind schedule. It's only -5 points. And the honking, you should not stream while running a train, and if you don't want to miss any honking boards. The worst thing that we did actually was departing ahead of schedule, but this is because I did not properly read the mission directives and stuff. You also haven't... Oh yeah, I did. Krakow, I drove. I think I actually did most of the services Krakow. From the Krakow yeah, it's not a DLC. It's a nice one. So let me see from the Krakow route. Krakow, Warszawa. yeah, as you can see, I did most of it. Well, I only have one check mark here, but I actually drove it a couple of times, and obviously more in multiplayer than in the in the single player thing. So it's a lot more to do for me in the single player section. At any rate, it was great to see this weird language on your stream. And no honking is needed if everyone around does have Fahrplankunde. That's true. So that the cars know when a train is supposed to come and can't cross. Alright, guys. That is Evan Vor. So nice to see you for the last minutes. And training for Liberec City Radar. Yes. I'm training for that, and I have to read the signaling rules and in check and get back into this interesting language. And there is more stuff to see in SimRail, so if you have the chance to grab it on Steam. You can almost get the whole DLC bundle for not a lot of more money than a Train Sim World Route. So I strongly recommend, and I hope that it will be released on console at some point. Expected this nice run. We'll check the GWE remaster video tomorrow. Thanks for the stream, and see you guys. Thank you guys for your ongoing support. Have the greatest of weeks. Make the best out of your time. Be nice to each other. And ASR as unofficial SimRail ambassador. Congratulations. Multiplayer fun. Congesting Wasi. Easy, good game. See you. Good night, Akura. Thank you so much. And good night, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.